For too long, the residents of Hernando County have been silenced by our own county officials. This podcast, The Voices of Hernando, is the place for you to voice what matters most to you. Even though everyone may not agree on the same solution to all our issues, we can all agree on one thing, that our voices need to be heard. So, tune in with me, your host, Susan Holmes, and subscribe so you don't miss The Voices of Hernando.
Tells us about herself.
Yes.
Hi, Susan. Welcome, Susan, TrueLovesRescue.com. Tell us who you are and what's going on.
Okay, so I'm sending you one more file. It's 4 total. So 20 years ago, I started rescuing cats and dogs. I'm from Florida. I was born here, raised here, went in the military, lived around, ended up in Indiana for a little while. Cats just started showing up at my door, so I started CNR on them, which is trap, neuter, and return. So you take them in and you get them fixed and you put them back out in the community. So I started doing that, and I got my whole neighborhood helping, and we got all the cats in the neighborhood, and I'm telling you, we didn't have any new cats that got pregnant or anything for a couple years, because I kept up on it. So I moved to Florida, and I've been down here, I think 8 or 9 years now, back down here. And I live in Wiki Wachee now, and I'm still rescuing animals, taking in dogs, and just finally talked to my husband and said, look, we need help. We need donations. We need companies to start helping us. So we filed for a 501c3 last year. Got it, and I started taking in more animals, taking them in from the shelter, the county shelter over here, taking them in. I had a team from here to New York. We were rescuing dogs in other counties, other county shelters, and placing them all over the United States. It was getting pretty big, and then so I had to kind of rein it back in because I wasn't getting the donations that I needed, because we were spending our own money and I just couldn't get the donations. So we decided to just rein it back into the local area. Well, I was connecting with other animal people here, and the county shelter here, and I was going through some posts, and I saw Zazu, which broke my heart. Zazu. This is Zazu. I don't know if you can see him. Come here. Here, buddy. This is Zazu. So I rescued him. Oh, no. And the day he was going to be euthanized, I went down there, and my husband and I went down, and I have it videotaped, but the kennel worker, the one his name is Daniel, and he's going to be in a later video as well, but he was so scared of the dogs. I don't know why he was even working there. He was so scared of the dogs, he wouldn't even go get Zazu in the kennel for me. So I literally had to take the leash from him, walk in the kennel, and get Zazu for myself. He was so scared, he was like trying to throw the rope through the crack of the kennel, over his head. And I don't know why he was so scared of him, but I went in and got him, and I took him to the room that you sit down and you do, what do you call it, when you visit them. And I adopted him that day, took him home. Well, Daniel was like, well, just come back tomorrow. And I said, he's being euthanized today. I can't come back tomorrow. So I took him home, and they told me no other animals around him. He was aggressive, no other animals. So I bring him home, and he's fine with all the other dogs and the cats. As a matter of fact, he saved my one dog from a giant nest of rattlers, and he almost died. He had over 6 bites from a nest of rattlers. I had to take him to the ER. It was a big thing. It's called #Team Zazu. If you want to go to my Facebook page and look it up. We had so many donations at the ER. They saved the whole community saved his life. He would have died because I did not have the $4,000 to save his life.
Right.
So he's kind of become the face of my rescue.
And he's what started everything, right?
What started everything, I started,
I'm going to show some of the other rescues that you've done while you're talking if you want to go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah. So somebody called me in the middle of, I don't know, it was late at night or something. They found these 5 kittens in the middle of a dirt road.
Oops, wrong way.
And they had mange, they were underweight. That's what they look like now. Took me over 6 months to get them healthy. These are all the dogs, some of the dogs that we've placed, or that we've rescued and trying to place. But yeah, we just taken injured, sick, abandoned, people gonna throw their pets out on the street, we go get them. People who, this lady, she was a young mother, she was losing her apartment. She had to move back in with her parents. And so she was gonna take this guy, come here. She was gonna take this guy to the shelter, and I said, no, you're not. Because he never would have survived that shelter. Right. This is Atlas.
Your rescue is kind of what led you to find out what was happening in your own county and wanted to kind of make a change. You want to tell us what you encountered when you decided that you thought it was a good idea to work with your county officials to try and help?
Oh yeah. So I'm sending you that other file. So you should have
I do have this one up already. It's ready to be shared whenever you're ready. And that's the
Go ahead and play the witness one. I warn you, it's graphic, there's no pictures, but the girl, every time I watch this video, it makes me cry. So if you have kids in the room, you probably don't want them to hear this. So
well, just so everybody watching, this is a witness testimony about the acts of the animal, what do they go by up there in Hernando? Animal Control, Animal Humane Society, what are they titled as?
It's a HCAS, Hernando County Animal Shelter.
All right, so this is a county animal shelter, and this is a witness testimony. Josie, before you do that, I want to say something. Don't you find it amusing that they call it the Hernando County Animal Shelter? Shelter is a word that implies safety, someplace safe, when in fact it's the Hernando County Animal
Torture.
Death camp?
Yeah, death camp, torture camp. It's ridiculous. Well, if anybody does not want to hear this, I advise you that you should probably either mute it because this is pretty graphic.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, Commissioners. My name is Elena Vance. I have been a Hernando County resident for 23 years. I wanted to share what happened on October 21st at Animal Services. I have been volunteering in photography and social media almost every day since June 2019. I have just resigned. Kim, Ann, and I were doing studio pictures of the dogs in the garage, pre-approved by TJ. There were 2 dogs in that room, both with dangerous dog signs on their kennel. One white dog was lying down, licking the fan. I wish I knew the dog's name or gender, but unfortunately, that was not provided to me. The black dog named Max barked the entire time, clearly upset for being in the kennel. I was there for over 2 hours, and Max kept barking until what happened next. While photographing a skittish bulldog, in comes a crowd of employees, including TJ. They used a pole around the white dog's neck while the dog barked and growled in fear. We watched as the dog was injected with 1 needle by Daniel as the dog barked, turned into a scream. I will never forget the poor dog that made that sound that made it feel like it never ended. This lasted for around 3 to 5 minutes as the dog screamed and tried to climb up the walls while defecating everywhere. Eventually the dog lay down while barking, then stopped barking with their ears up. Finally their ears dropped. I watched Daniel lay on the dirty garage ground to see if the dog was asleep. Then the dog was put on a metal cart and removed from the garage. TJ watched the dog the entire time, as did us volunteers. We were never acknowledged. We were never given a heads up. We were never asked to leave the room. TJ just bounced the ball to the bulldog in the photo shoot as the white dog screamed as if this wasn't happening. It appeared the dog was just euthanized in front of us. We were just supposed to keep taking pictures while a dog lived their last moments in torture. Where was love and compassion in the final dog's final moments? Poor Max, who was barking the entire time, lay down and cowered. Max would no longer look at his volunteers, only the foreign fear of what just happened next to him. Max feared for his life as he was beginning to accept that he may be next. After communicating my experiences to TJ and James, I was horrified by their lack of understanding of how inappropriate their treatment of the white dog was. In response, I was questioned when will my pictures be sent. What do they do when no one is around? I will never ever forget that day. I continue to have nightmares and am exceptionally sensitive to Halloween content involving animals and death. You tell me what is going to be done to fix this compassion issue. Thank you.
It seems like some of these decisions should have been veterinarian decisions, and maybe an SOP is not being followed when it comes to that.
James Terry, Animal Services Manager, for the record. The main issue that brought us here today was the euthanasia of the dog in the garage. The sedation, I should say, of the dog in the garage.
Please try again.
The euthanasia of the dog in the garage.
Busted.
But I wanted to tell you real quick about my meeting with John Alaco. So after BFC meeting, he seemed kind of empathetic, so him and Beth, so I emailed them both to have a meeting, and Beth didn't answer me, but I got to talk with John. I went like a week later, or 2 weeks later, or whatever, and walked in, and I tried to present a plan, because I had a whole bunch of backing from other people that would help with fundraising, like give me $100,000 in fundraising for the shelter, and just a whole plan to be able to turn that shelter around almost into a no-kill shelter. So I emailed him, and I brought this plan in with me into the meeting, and he really didn't want to talk about it. He talked mostly about his family, and he's from New York, and all kinds of other stuff, and I only got like a couple points across, but I asked him, I said, look, I have a lot of witnesses, people, the volunteers that have come forward. I said, do you want me to email this stuff to you? And I'm quoting, he said, no, do not email me. Let me see, I want to make sure I quote him right. No, please don't do that. Our emails are public. I don't want a paper trail. So he told me to put it on a thumb drive and give it to Jeff Rogers. Yeah. So, and he also told me animals are subjective. I'm quoting, the shelter is to keep people safe from animals. And Terry isn't.
So exactly what or who does it shelter?
And he said, James Terry isn't going anywhere, and I don't have a problem with how he's running the shelter, even though they're on their like second or third audit. Because I offered for my husband and I to come put an application in to run the shelter. I would donate my part back to the shelter. I have I said we need to have this overseen by animal people, 501c3 rescue people. I was talking to other rescues who said they would come in and I wanted to do an oversee board. I didn't have to be in charge. I didn't have to do it. Somebody else could step up and take control and work there too. And I could be under this board as well. But we wanted a board to oversee everything that was going on there. And he said no, he likes the way it was running. And so I questioned him. And then he told me, because I asked him about the splash pad. So I don't know if you know, but we have a big lagoon going on here. It's a huge lagoon being built. And they're always talking about how we have to save water. So at the time, there was a splash pad, and he says, and I quote, I'm not going to choose between the splash pad and the shelter because next year is election year, and I don't want to slit my throat with the voters.
Do you have that in writing from him?
No, I came home and I wrote everything down right away.
Okay, so what we need to do is, I'm going to tell you right now, the first thing I would do is get every public records request I could in communications between that shelter and your Board of County Commissions. And then I would get financial documentation. I would find out, these are steps that you're going to have to take if you really want to take this on.
Well, there are people that have been doing this before me, like they would doctor all the daily reports for like 6 months. They had to go back because somebody was requesting all the daily reports. This is what dogs come in, what dogs go out, what dogs are euthanized, what dogs are adopted, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So they're not keeping up on it. They weren't keeping up on it. And then they had to go back and fix all the logs. So they're doing, they're really shady about everything.
But somebody's communicating with the Board of County Commission at some level. So the public records requests are very important. Ask Sabrina. You really find out a lot of things. And then once you get the public records request, you need to find out if you have access to their financial donations and data. And
well, I looked at the budget.
No. There's no find out if. They have to provide that.
Well, people have tried and they're being put off. They're not sending it to them.
Okay,
That's
so
the problem.
let me say this, Susan. And I just told Josie this morning, Levy County filed suit to stop a development, a mine in Levy County. Some of the people of Levy County filed suit. They just won their suit. I've been saying this, I've been preaching this for months. Here's what I think you should do. You do what you choose to do. I think you should put your oversight board together. Your oversight board should walk in and say, you're here to do an inspection and look at records. They're going to throw you out. And as soon as they do, your oversight board goes and files a civil criminal complaint. You haul all their asses into court. They work for us. We the people.
Absolutely.
We need to force them to allow your oversight board to oversee the shelter. They work for you.
And I don't know why. Okay, I don't know what, going in, and many people have tried to talk to Beth and Alaco, and I don't know why they don't want our help. That tells me that's a big red flag.
Because then you'll find out where the money's going.
Exactly.
You'll find out where the money's going and where it's flowing. And that's exactly why.
Because the budget for the shelter is $2 million. Where is that money going? Now they're supposedly upgrading the shelter and going to build another extension or whatever. But what was happening to that 1.5 last year? Where is all that money going? Because the budget is not transparent. I was looking it up and following the budget, and it was not transparent. It was not a breakdown of what was going on.
Well, this is enough right here to file a ethics complaint. And based on that ethics complaint, you actually can take that back to a financial. If they are so broke that they're not putting dogs to sleep before they euthanize them, that leaves room for an ethics investigation as to where the money's going. If it's leading to animal cruelty, and that starts a paper trail. That starts a paper trail.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a 3-day plea for a dog before they euthanize it, and they don't do that a lot of times. And pets were being put down because they weren't calling the pet owners, or it was microchipped and they weren't calling, or they called once and then not try again. All kinds of shady crap has been going on for years and years.
The problem of dishonest leadership, the problem of wrongful death, the problem of mismanagement. I know our community can do better than this. I believe our leaders can lead better than this. Certainly there is someone who can run the shelter that is an animal advocate. James Terry said on multiple occasions, he is not the one. Dogs with water hose, if they wouldn't move to the other side of the kennel, a dog behind wheeled on a cart to a euthanized room, head under a blanket, feet sticking out, body twitching because the sedative had not kicked in yet. When I asked 2 employees to help the dog, they said, "Oh, don't worry, it's not one you know." Dogs returned to kennels still drowsy from surgery and or with wounds still bleeding. I told James that the community needed to know the truth about the shelter. When the dogs were in need of rescue, the community needed to know. When the shelter had financial needs, the amazing people in this community could come together and help the animals as long as he was transparent about their needs. That was when James Terry told me that transparency was tricky and not everyone could handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Transparency is tricky and not everyone can handle the truth. That's because what they do is nothing less than immoral, criminal, and in some cases illegal. That's the truth.
Where are all these animal rights groups?
Oh, trust me, we have been trying. We have been trying and trying. We have been, some of the media here will not talk about it.
There's no money in them talking about it. There's
They don't
money,
wanna
the
get
animal
their
groups
dirty.
that you're talking about are making money on donations,
Yep.
doing fake shit that they aren't even really doing, and they don't show up for the real shit that you need them for.
The BOCC meeting was packed that day when we went about that dog that was euthanized without sedation. Do the A4, she's gonna read some letters, and then that's really all the videos I have for you.
Okay, A4.
And this is just a short clip of a couple of one or two letters that were sent to the BOCC.
Animal groups that you're talking about are making money on donations,
Yep.
doing fake shit that they aren't even really doing, and they don't show up for the real shit that you need them for.
The BOCC meeting was packed that day when we went about that dog that was euthanized without sedation. So yeah, they were.
I think we need to make those clips go viral, Sabrina.
Yeah, you know what else I think we need to do? When we do these kind of shows, the phone numbers and the email addresses for these people need to be included in the show notes. And people need to call them and email them and tell them what they think of them.
Trust me, they know. We have been doing it for years. I mean, there's more people that have been doing this longer than I have. Zazu, in order to get him to move from one side of the cage to another, they squirt him in the face with a hose. Okay, they don't do it anymore. But that was a big deal. I mean, I can't even, when I go to fill up a bucket for water for him, he won't go anywhere near the hose. There was a dog that they had amputated his leg, and they put him back in a dirty, hot, outside kennel, and he tripped on a broken grate, fell, bled out overnight. Nobody was there to watch this dog. He wasn't in the infirmary. There is no humanity in the people who work here. Let me tell you, the last vet that was here, she was getting $90,000 a year to work here. And she didn't even do most of the spay and neuter. She didn't like to do them. So she sent them to Pet Love, okay, which is a low-cost spay and neuter place, which the rest of the community goes to so we can actually keep our pets fixed. They were sending them over there because she didn't like to do them very often, and it was clogging that up, which backs the community up, which everybody throws their animals out because now their cat got pregnant and they got nowhere to do with it. So that's where I pick up at, So this whole system needs to change, and it needs to start with getting new BOCC members in there who actually care.
Here is their animal services information in the comments, and I'm fixing to put the Board of County Commissioners in there because that's who runs this.
Well, Laco's up for re-election this year in November, and we have a couple other people running for his spot. Burton Mallah is one of them, and he is a really good guy, and I'm voting for him. And you got one or two other people running for his spot too. Can't remember. So anyway, after this meeting.
Which one is he? I'm looking for him now.
Which one? Alaco?
District. Yeah, which district?
3. District 3.
All right.
Oh, he's a realtor. It's so messed up. So he's a realtor. Beth was a realtor. They make money on all the development. They changed the zoning for the developers to be able to build on certain properties. And then those developers donate to their campaigns, and then John Alaco and Beth Navard, they're realtors, so now they turn around and they help sell the properties that those developers are developing. It's a big scam here. They're all corrupt. I want them all out. The whole community wants them all out. Because it goes further than this whole shelter thing. And it starts with these.
It's corrupt. It's corrupt as shit.
It's all corrupt. Okay.
Speaking of corrupt, Dave J knows about corruption.
Let's let Dave J pop in for just a minute, and then we'll come back to some more. Hound on it, but I've been hounding on it forever. The only way to do this is to do criminal complaints, haul their asses into court. I have people available who will help you write those documents and help guide you down that road. It's not free. It's not going to be free. Nobody works for free, but they would be the fraction of going to a bar loyal court loyal criminal attorney. They don't practice law, they assist people to stand for themselves.
Yep.
So,
Sounds good.
that's what I have to say. Well, actually, let me, I want to, hang on a minute. I want to do one other thing while we're here. Right there. If you can't afford a lawyer, you can win without one. I have a study group that assists with that. There are lots of people in the study group who are handling their own cases. We do not need to go to a lawyer to start handling our own affairs. That's what I have to say about that.
And if you could put up my little thing for donations and the QR codes so people can donate if they'd like, or I also have the QR code to go to my Facebook page, so.
All right, and if you would like to donate to True Loves, let's see, is it this one? Yep. There we go.
Yep, so the one on the right, all the way to the right is my Facebook page if you want to go there. And we got Venmo and PayPal. I also have Zelle, but that's a
I'm
phone.
gonna pull them up and you can talk about each one. Can you see it, Sabrina?
Yep, this was
I can.
Atlas. He's a 1.5 year old husky mix. This is the one that was scared to go up the stairs and hug on the wall. They've all got their shots. They're all fixed. He's cuddly. He loves water. He really loves water. And he will need a playmate because he loves to play.
All right, next. Let's see, let me go to the next one.
That's Timber. He's the one, he is very goofy. He loves female dogs. And all these dogs are good with cats and children. And he's about 1.5 years old. He's neutered too. I think he's a Pyrenees or Antillean Shepherd mix. I'm not really sure, but he's a big dog. He's about 80 pounds. He is so sweet and lovable.
Yeah, I like him. Him and Atlas both are my favorites.
Yeah. And then you got Brookie, and I'm telling you, she is.
He's cute too. She looks so cute.
She is so well mannered, but she is a tomboy when she plays with boys. She is rough when she plays with them. Yeah, she's so funny. She gets them down on the ground, and it's hilarious.
Her and Timber both were rescued from euthanasia.
Yep.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Yep. From a Georgia county I rescued them from.
You got another one?
Well, thank you for having me on, and thank you for listening to our community.
You're more than welcome, and I hope that you decide to come on to the 286 Sunshine Hub to do Hernando updates for us.
Absolutely.
Yay!
And we will have a true Holmes and Watson.
Just to give a quick update,